Hey everybody, welcome back to Monkey Fab, Monkey Fab Garage, monkeyfabgarage.com. Yeah, we're just basically, so I already built everything at this point, and we took the car apart because that's what I like to do. I like to basically bridge the gaps. So here it was like whatever was, you know, Volvo had to meet with whatever was Chevy, and you bridge all those gaps, and then your project's done. We finished that, but then I like to take it apart and put it all back together. It's just that way I can put it back together nice and neat and make sure everything's torqued and things are done well. That's how I like to do it. So that's where we're at now. We got the engine. All right, and as you guys probably saw, we just got through sticking the engine and transmission in the Volvo, and yeah, no big surprises there. I'll show you the underneath, and then I'll drop it down and show you the top. So, engine, transmission, neutral safety switch, shifter guy, torque converter, checked the spacings, drive shaft, all the way to the back. So here's pretty much buttoned up. Just looking around, I need to add the exhaust, which is right over there. And yeah, let me drop it down. I'll show you the engine bay. We got this guy shoved in here. Got our lines ran. They're going to kind of come up and over in the back there for our transmission cooler. It's better to have too much than not enough. So we made them a little bit long, but we'll get those guys ran. It's the last line we really got to make are these guys. Yeah, and then this guy's just stuffed in here with our mounts I told you guys about, and the air conditioning guy. We'll get ready to throw on all the accessories. The intake mat, we got to snap on our sensors and blah, blah, blah. So this thing is lacking a few things right now. There's no power steering fluid, transmission fluid, or air conditioning refrigerant or water in the block. So you guys saw it leaked. We went out, repaired that. Hopefully this guy, it's all put together. I built this, what do you call this? Intake tube, I guess you'd say. It's got a little support wheel on the bottom down there that's attached to the frame rail, a little silicone 90. I remembered how to weld aluminum while I was at it. It's amazing. But that radiator was, that thing was, it was owning me. It's tough. It's thin and the metal's kind of finicky. Yeah, but again, I don't have a ton of time on aluminum. I wish I had more. Pretty much with steel, if I see it, I've seen it before. If it's something's happening, I pretty much know what it is. On aluminum, it still surprises me. So the battery just need to hook up, and that is it. You guys see, we took the radiator, was like way back behind this whole thing, and just shoved it up in there. We got the, you see past that, it's not gonna let me see past it, but that's all right. Our condenser and transmission cooler are right in there. There's a little shield that goes on the bottom that attaches underneath into the front member that helps to create a vacuum, I believe, and kind of suck it out. At least that's what it kind of looks like to me. And yeah, the engine bay, guys, it's done. I think it's good. It's good to go. Computer mounted inside, put a tune in it. I need to add fuel. We got to set up the dash, so we need to calibrate the dash and the computer, and then get some gas, so then we can calibrate the gas tank, and that'll be it, and we'll be ready to start it up. Oh, pressure, Mike. I'm not doing anything. Molly's she's taking the wheel. Come on, yeah, we got 50 psi oil pressure. Pulling a good vacuum. Bam! Got her running. Turns off, starts up, transmission moves. So those are all good things. We got a squealy belt down there on our air conditioner, but yeah, at least it's running, so that's a good thing. So I'm probably gonna let it do a temperature cycle, just let it, you know, warm up and cool down, a couple times. We put a couple more extra clamps on. We need to get better hose. That I got made in America hose, it's not really all that made in America. So yeah, and apparently I need to get a new belt too, so no big deal. Yeah, it's a good point. So now we know this thing runs and it moves. We can start getting the rest of it in. Why not? All right, real quick. So I know this is a mess, but it's a mess when you got a lot of stuff and you're moving it around trying to make everything go. But yeah, I just wanted to show you guys that I made the adapter boys for the vents. This guy right here is just gonna get snipped. It's under there, so don't worry about that. All right, we're back in the garage. So we were out in the wild, took the dog to the vet. Has this weird starting issue where I have to turn the crankshaft a little bit to get it to start. Not the biggest problem we have right now. So took it around the block, let it run, let it heat cycle a few times, and yeah, it was fine. Car's fine, runs fine. Other than that starting thing, kind of weird, but no big deal. And always oil pressure conscious and sensitive, watching the oil pressure. Oil pressure's fine. Idles at like 30, zooms right up. Well, I punched it one time, just one time. Mind you, there's plenty. Just changed the oil, so we let it run, heat cycle, drove around the block, heat cycle a bunch of times. I knew there was a bunch of shit in the oil, so swapped that out, cut the filter, looked at it, just fine, other than just some sludgy crap. And on the way home, about a mile or two out, we get like 20 psi oil pressure. It won't move off 20 psi, revving, not revving, and it sounds like doesn't sound like Uncle Rodney, but doesn't sound good. It sounds like top end problems, which is probably worse than Uncle Rodney because the top end was all nice heads, camshaft, and all that stuff. So yeah, we went from like hero to zero in less than a half an hour. So the car, did I show you guys the interior? Like, hey, we got the interior. I still have the dash on. I'm frustrated. You guys ever get frustrated? You guys ever spend like 9 months building a car and then it dies the first day out? it's how it always seems to work for me. So I don't know. I'm a bit disappointed right now. I'm just gonna hope for good things. I'm gonna leave the car outside overnight as punishment. I can just sit there, think about what it's done.